Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Horsemanship Journey podcast. My name is Shane Jacob, your host, and I thank you for taking your time to be here with me today. Today's episode is brought to us by Cowboy Cuffs. Elevate your style, elevate your life. Appreciate Cowboy Cuffs. Well, people's stories have power. They have the power to enrich and add value to our lives. And today we have a special story. On August 31st in 2017, Braxten Nielsen's life changed forever. He attended a rodeo that day just like any other day, except that day was different. And today we're going to hear the story of bareback rider, team roper, and odds beater, Braxten Nielsen. Braxten, hey man, thanks for being here today and joining us. Appreciate you.
Oh, I'm excited to be on here, Shane, with you guys, and I think what you guys have to offer is amazing, and an opportunity to jump on here is always a reward for me. So thank you.
You betcha. For those of you who missed it, Braxten was a part of our or for current members of the Horsemanship Journey or Stable Living, you will recognize Braxten. He was on the Horsemanship Journey show in an episode, and that was a great episode. So we're excited to have you back on, or for the first time on the podcast here today. But for those of us for those out in the world who haven't yet heard your story, Braxten, could you just begin and give us a little background about you, and then just lead right up to that day in August. Tell us the story. What's happened?
All right, yeah, no. For those that don't know me, I mean, I'm from a small town from Roosevelt, Utah. Grew up, ranching, farming, loving the outdoors. Grew up playing basketball, football, baseball, honestly, all through high school, and then kind of going through this fast. But when I was right out of high school, I ended up getting a job working for Shad Field, who helped, mentor me a lot, and then actually introduced me to Casey Field at the age of about 20. I met Casey Field, and he kind of introduced me into the bareback riding scene. I was friends with Joe Frost growing up, the Frost family. I tried getting on a couple bulls in high school. Didn't like doing that. They scared me. Them bulls, they scared me, so I didn't want to do anything that way. Stuck to the basketball, stuck to football, and then I got out of high school and kind of rubbed shoulders with Shad Field. He introduced me to Casey, and Casey kind of took me under his wing the first couple of years of my bareback riding career at 22. And man, it was a launching pad of adrenaline, a fun of chasing a dream that was amazing. And I'm very grateful for them mentors in my life at that time. I ended up getting a scholarship at Weber State University, where I went to the college national finals in 2016 and didn't finish very good. Came back in 2017 at college national finals while I was still pro rodeoing, and ended up 8th in the nation at the college finals, and that kind of was a launching board into my rodeo career. I was really going to hit the road hard in 2018, but August 31st, 2017, things changed a little bit for me. I was up at Filer, Idaho. I was sitting 6th in the wilderness circuit. Finally, I took enough butt kickings, learning how to ride bucking horses, that I finally felt like I was starting to ride really good. I won Rock Springs Pro Rodeo a couple weeks before that. And so, my mindset, I finally felt like I got my butt kicked enough that I was starting to really ride good. And my dream was starting to become a reality. And then August 31st up in Filer, Idaho, Sozo, I drew an awesome horse, Sozo and me. And Sozo kind of reared out of the chute as the gate opened up and pinned my shoulder blades underneath the back of the chute. And what it did is it tacoed me, and in that setting, it totally destroyed the L1 vertebrae when she, smashed me against the back of that chute. And then it caused my T12 to dislocate. As the gate opened up, she was able to get to her feet and left the chute. And then it left me paralyzed right there in the arena. I kind of came off sideways and, hit the dirt. When I hit the dirt, yep, everything from my belly button down was shut down. There was nothing, no muscles firing, nothing working, and had a spinal cord injury from from that rodeo accident that really has changed my life forever.
Braxton, just in those moments, I've heard you talk before about. I think you might have said that you sounded like a shotgun went off, and then there was the fight for life, and just wondering if you could just kind of walk us through the next through few things. I mean, I can't imagine what uh, you coming to realize that that you couldn't move, that you were in fact paralyzed at that moment, right?
Looking back now at it, too, it was almost like surreal. It's still like a dream. Like, can't believe that really happened to me. I do. I remember. I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. But climbing over the chute, being excited, and you nod your head like you have 100 times, and as it was. I think from the bone, sound travels through bone. I think that's when that bone broke in my back when she pinned me against the back of the chute. I heard it like a crack go off in my ears, and her mane kind of hit me in the face, and it was like I broke my back. I knew as soon as I heard the crack, felt it obviously, and then but it was weird. It didn't really necessarily hurt. Like, I wasn't in a lot of pain. Um, and I got my hand out of the rigging handle, kind of about 2 jumps out in the arena. And when I hit, I kind of went to stand up. She kind of lit me on my right side, and I went to stand up, and that's when nothing moved. That's when kind of panic mode set in. And again, I wasn't necessarily in much pain at that time. It was just like panic mode. I remember waving at Joe Frost. There was a couple other buddies there. My rodeo coach was there. The CSI. So I was rodeoing for CSI at the time, and we helped run the rodeo. We run the out gates. But where I was riding that night, I had a lot of teammates, my rodeo coaches, a lot of support there, and obviously my traveling partners were there. Got them. They all kind of came out, and that's when I was sitting there talking to Joe Frost at the time, like, "Hey, something's wrong." And they went to take off my boots, my chaps, and when they moved my chaps and my boots, it must have twisted a nerve or something in my spine, and that's when it really started hurting. It felt like a lightning strike. Hit me in the back of the neck, went to the middle of my back, and it just kind of felt like a lightning bolt kept hitting me, and that's when it really hurt. But they took me to the U of U hospital, went under a 5.5-hour surgery. After coming out of surgery, that's when I guess the realization of how bad this accident was. The surgeon talked to my dad and my mom, but gave me a 5% chance to ever walk again at that time. And that's when it was like, okay, this is real. It's not. I've broken a lot of bones, right? I've been bucked off a lot, but we all learn how to fight through them broken bones and things. And this one kind of hit a little different.
Tell us about that. Tell us about when you first found out about this. I mean, did your dad tell you, or did the doctor tell you, your mom, or how did you come to know that the surgeon after that initial surgery had said that you're going to have a 5% chance to walk?
It was my dad actually that told me. So I was in the room at the time. Mom and dad were sitting down in the waiting room, waiting for the surgery to get done and be able to come see me. So as they're waiting, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. 5.5-hour surgery, and they showed up there. The rodeo started that night at 7 o'clock. By the time they flew me to the U of U hospital, started surgery and everything, my mom and dad drove about 2.5 hours to Salt Lake. They're sitting in this waiting room, and they tell me a story now. I wasn't there, obviously, but I guess the surgeon walked out to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Nielsen, Miss Nielsen, we did an amazing job on your son's back. I don't know exactly. Somebody told us it was a horse accident, and it was bad. We did a great job. We put 2 rods, 8 screws. We fused 5 of his vertebrae. But I want to be real with you guys. I don't want to give you any false hope. Your son has a less than 5% chance to walk." At first, she just said that I was going to be a paraplegic, that they really needed to stick by my side, that especially his first week. She kept telling my dad and my mom, like, this first week's very important. You guys watch Braxton, make sure that he's, in a good mental state, try to keep him there, because his life, he's going to be in a wheelchair. His life has changed. And my dad is the one that he kept just thinking, is the spinal cord severed? And the surgeon said, no, it's not severed. It's pinched severely where them bones broke and dislocated. It pinched it just pinched the spinal cord, and we can't get any, signal past the spinal cord. And he said, well, if it's not severed, then he's got a chance. And she kept telling him, Mr. Nielsen, I just don't want to give any false hope. Your son, he's going to be wheelchair bound. Well, if it's not severed, he's got to have a chance. And he finally said, sir, your son has less than 5% chance to walk again. Yes, we're going to do our very best to get him there, but I just don't want to give you any false hope or any false expectations that your son's going to walk again. So my dad, knowing this, his first initial thoughts were, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to let Braxten know that, hey, you do have a chance. And if it's going to be possible, we need to get to work right first thing. So as I came, that next morning, really came out of the anesthesia, started waking up in this hospital bed. I went to sit up in my bed. I couldn't really sit up. I was panicked. I had a neck brace on. And because of the medicine anesthesia, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what happened? I was at the rodeo. Yeah, I broke my back. Okay, I remember breaking my back. But, man, I think that the doctors cut my legs off. And I started panicking because, I could feel my legs, but I couldn't feel them. I don't know how to explain it in words. Like, they were there, but I couldn't necessarily feel them. And I thought the doctors cut my legs off. I thought I had a blood clot or somehow. I don't know. That's why we don't do drugs, right? It made my mind kind of go crazy. I started panicking, yelling for my dad. And he came over, and first thing my dad did was throw a joke at me. Me and my dad have a really close relationship, but he was like, hey, I started panicking. Dad, did they cut my legs off? I'm yelling at him. Did they cut them off? Did they cut them off? And he finally was like, hey, buddy, yeah, the doctors took your legs. They took your legs. And I start crying. I'm really thinking the doctors took my legs. And my mom, she kind of picks up my ankle. I see my mom at the end of my bed. She picks up my leg, and she's crying. And she's like, no, they didn't, Rick. Knock it off. They're kind of, my dad's laughing. I'm crying. My mom's crying. And he's like, no, hey, buddy, your legs are there. You're good. You're good. You're in a good place. We're here for you. Hey, things are going to be a little different, okay? I need you to listen to me. And he got serious. And said, before anything, like, Braxten, you got arms. You can feel this. And he squished my arms. Said, you can see. You're talking to me. You're alive, son. You feel that? And I know it's kind of cheesy, but he did. He put my hand right on my heart, and his hand, like, we were sitting there, and you could feel that. Sucker said, do you feel that? Can you feel that? Yeah, Dad, I can feel that. And it felt like my heart was going to pop out of my chest. Says, you're alive. Son, you can still be the very best. Yes, things are going to be different. And that's when he proceeded to tell me, what happened at the rodeo. Because I couldn't really remember. I was pretty jugged up. And he said, horse smashed you, broke your T12, totally destroyed your T12, totally destroyed the L1, dislocated the T12. You have a spinal cord injury, son. Your chances of walking aren't very good, but you do have a chance. And so we started going into, we need to get you off pain medication. The doctors told him the sooner I could get off pain meds and stuff, the quicker my body maybe could try to fire, because if you're on pain medication and muscle relaxers, right, you put your muscles to sleep. And so in a short period of time, I wanted to get off of that stuff as fast as I could to allow my body to start working, functioning normal. And it was hard. There was a lot of pain, but I thought if I could feel a little pain, it meant I was alive. It meant my body was trying to do what it's supposed to do.
Right on. So, were you just, from that moment, were you focused on, let's see if I can walk, or did you have a lot of negative thoughts going on about, my dream's over, my life's over, and all the things that go with that? What was going through your mind?
No, at first it was a negative thing. Like, I won't lie, there was a lot of negative thoughts. Like, of course, I think anybody that's been in these circumstances, most people, you ask yourself, why me? Like, why did this circumstance have to happen to me? And I was pretty upset at God at the time, to be honest. I've been raised with my mom and dad have always involved God in my life. I feel like I have a very strong relationship with my Heavenly Father. And at this point, I was mad. I was upset, thinking, why would you do this? I've tried living right. Of course, I wasn't perfect. I'm not perfect at all. But I mean, why would you take my dream, something that I've worked towards, and allow it to happen? So it really was a negative. And I would try to fake it, right? People would come in, see me, and I'd put a smile on, and oh, it's good. It's going to be all right. We're going to be able to whoop this. But then deep down, I mean, I was hurting quite a bit at the time. And what changed that for me, one is having good friends that showed up, and they truly believed in me a lot. I had community members reach out, family members that came and see me. You start talking about this, man. I start reflecting back on it. Pretty neat. The doctors actually had to start turning people away because they said, "Hey, Braxton needs his rest. His body really needs to rest." And I mean, I had my traveling partner left school, came back. Bodell stayed the night with me there for the first couple nights. My mom and dad were staying there. Joe and Josh, they'd come in, and I mean, friends after friends would come in and see me, and it started making me, what it did is it changed my perspective. Okay, if these guys believe in me, if they're supporting me, then I better dang well believe in myself. And I'm going to share one really spiritual experience that I haven't shared this very often. There was one night, though, that I was struggling pretty bad, and I just kind of was actually praying out loud, asking Heavenly Father, like, why would you do this to me? Like, what did I do to deserve to, I don't know, having a pity party? Pretty upset, and I won't lie, I was praying out loud. I was sitting in my bed, and I actually thought my dad, I was in the room by myself. My mom and dad went to go get something to eat. I thought my dad snuck back in the room because I felt like somebody hugged me in this hospital bed. And I don't know if you've ever been praying out loud, in a room, and someone opens the door, and you kind of like, somebody's listening, so you kind of, start praying more in your mind. Well, that's kind of what I did. Thought, oh, my dad's just hugging me, and I'm crying there for me. So I quit praying out loud, and I'm just praying in my mind, thinking, okay, my dad's in the room. Well, I open my eyes, and nobody's in the room. There was no one there, and that's when I really felt like, Heavenly Father is there. He knows what we're going through. He's aware of what our circumstances, and that's when I guess it really hit me that, it changed my why me to like, why me? Why do I get to feel this now? And it changed my perspective. Why do I have all these friends that love me, support me? Why do I have all these family members that believe in me? Felt pretty blessed. It changed my perspective in my mind that night. And I know I haven't really shared that experience a whole lot, so it's pretty spiritual to me. And I'm grateful for that relationship that I do have with my Heavenly Father.
Braxton, that's something, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing that. That's really that's a lot. So thank you for that. You talk about the idea of 1% though, and so I was wondering if you could kind of go into how you eventually came up with the idea of 1%.
Oh yeah, that was actually my dad too that came up with this. There, he helped me. I struggled. The first time I went down to physical therapy, this about 5 days after the accident, had a physical therapist come in my room. It kind of helped me out of my bed. And that was another story I tell that, I grabbed this therapist the first time I met him and grabbed him by the collar of his shirt and was like, hey, listen, I'm walking out of here. Okay. I'm walking out of here. I need you to believe in me. If you don't believe in me, then let's get out. Like get out of my room, bring in the next therapist that's going to believe in me. And that's something with life, like pull people in your life that are going to help you, that are going to help you be better, be that 1% better, believe in you. Get rid of the people, and it's hard. I've had to get rid of some friends, and it's been a really tough choice. But to be honest, it's hard to say this, but it's been one of the best things that I've been able to do is get rid of the negative people, the negative energy in my life. And that's hard to do. But one therapist that was amazing, my physical therapist, Miss Emily, she was awesome right from the get-go. I go down to this therapy room, and she made me curl a 1-pound bar, right? I mean, it was all, I practiced, I had to practice sitting up for the first time with my body, and I don't know, it's hard to even explain in words, right? But from my belly, but right above my belly button down, there's no muscles working. So you think when you sit up, that's all your core muscles, your back muscles. Well, without them, like I'd slunch over and I'd about fall off just from, trying to sit up. So I had to use my shoulder blades, my arms, learn how to sit back up correctly. And after I figured out how to do that, she handed me a 1-pound bar. And this is where the 1% really established from and created was my dad watched me curl a 1-pound bar for the first time, and I about fell off this platform because of trying to curl a 1-pound bar. Well, I got really upset. A 1-pound bar defeated me. Like after I failed at this, I went back to my room. I was having a pity party again, and all of a sudden my dad come in the room and he's like, "Hey, you need to change your mindset, man. Like 1-pound bar, that's all right. You failed, but listen, you can still go back and you're gonna try it again tomorrow." And I was like, "No, like, Dad, you don't understand. I rode a 1,200-pound animal like a week ago, and now I can't even curl a 1-pound bar." And he's like, "Okay, well, let's change this, Braxton. Let's think. If you could walk tomorrow, if you could walk, you woke up, you could walk, what would you do?" I told him I'm ready to end the rodeo. Like I'm in the mindset I was ready to get back on a bareback horse. That's what I want to do. So perfect. And let's work towards that vision. All right. What are some goals, Braxton, that you can accomplish? One was walking. Obviously, being able to walk again. I had to walk. Walking out of the hospital, I had about 3 months that they wanted me there. And I thought, okay, in these 3 months, then I'm walking out of this hospital. And then he said, okay, what are a day-to-day basis? When you go to work out, what are something that you can keep in your mindset to help you hit that goal? And I said some things, and he finally said, "Hey, I want you to think 1-pound bar. Just totally changed your mindset, whooped you. What about 1% better every day? If you can focus each day of being 1% better, how about we go with that?" And I thought that was a really neat deal. And so that's something I still live by, is being 1% better. The small steps matter, because if you ain't stepping, if you're not taking a step, you ain't going anywhere. So that's the progress, that being a little tiny bit better every single day is where that stems from.
Right on. Tell us more of you progressed and what happened when you took a step, and just kind of go on with how it went there in the hospital if you were progressing.
Oh, you know what? It's hard. Like that was, I'd have to say, like negativity wise, that was the first week was hard. Probably the hardest. The first 2 weeks were the hardest for me. After that experience that I shared with you, spiritual experience, things really started, like it just, and being able to be that 1%, it was like, I'm going to give it my very best effort, and whatever I get back, I'm grateful for, and I'm still going to be successful in life. Even if I never hit that vision again, I'm going to be successful. And I think because that positivity just rolled day in and day out. I met other patients, built relationships with other patients that we'd push each other. We had fun in the hospital. We made every day was fun. We'd mess with the nurses. I mean, I know this is kind of going off a little bit, but we toilet papered. You should have seen it. It was the craziest thing too. Handicapped people in wheelchairs trying to, after hours, I was able to go down. I told the physical therapy that I wanted to do some extra stretches. So I put a pencil on the back door, and we went down there that night, me and one other buddy, actually 2 of us, in toilet papered. And we didn't think about it, but it was hard to move around in our wheelchairs. This is probably the best physical therapy I ever had, trying to grab toilet paper. I mean, we just made it fun. and enjoyed the process. And so that's, I guess, getting to it is you have to enjoy the process of whatever it is you're going through. And so I enjoyed the process of learning how to walk again, learning new ways to get my body to function, new ways of getting to allow my body to learn. And so little by little, I mean, we had to practice standing. Once I was able to stand, I mean, I still had to use support. It's hard to even put in words. I wish I had some videos to show you, but it was hard. It was not easy. There's a lot of pain. The same deal. I mean, I thought pain was a good thing. I always had a basketball coach growing up that said it's discomfort. It's not pain you're feeling, it's discomfort. And that discomfort's growth. So I felt a lot of discomfort, and little by little, being that 1%, honestly, I learned how to open my gait pattern, how to walk off of pressure in my hips. Then eventually that pressure was able to feel in my knees. I still today can't feel the ground, but I walk off of pressure. A lot of it's moved off of pressure. I do have some feeling nowadays. It's gotten a lot better. But learning new ways for my body to work, I guess. And I don't know if that hopefully answers your question as far as going through that physical therapy is just enjoying the process of that 2 months being there.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. So you did step and so did you make the goal? Did you walk out of there? Tell us about it.
Yes, sir. Well, it was pretty neat. It was really neat, actually. The day I was supposed to leave, see, you're supposed to walk 50 meters. Like I was supposed to walk around the hallways, and I never really could do it on my own. I couldn't do it on my own. My muscle capacity would give out. But because of my physical therapist, my dad, and the team there that I had, they helped me with them accomplish that 50 meters, which allowed me to actually, Miss Emily, the day I left on a Wednesday, she came up to my room and was like, "Hey, it's time for you to leave. Let's go down. I'll help you. Let's go down to the bottom floor, which was the therapy room." Said, and then I'm going to help you. We're going to walk out of this hospital together. I got a walker down there. Said, "Okay." So you come down the elevator, get out of my wheelchair onto my walker, and I come around the corner of the hallway to go out the doors. I had to kind of walk down the hallway and then out the doors. Well, I come around the corner, and their hallway was lined with the nurses, the therapists, patients, friends, and it was the neatest deal. I was able to walk with, the walker and assistant from my therapist. We walked out of the hallway. They had sliding doors. The sliding doors came open and able to walk out of the hospital, which was one of the goals that I set out to do. And honestly, I wasn't leaving the hospital any other way. Like, I don't care if I had to crawl out of it. I wasn't going to leave it in that wheelchair. Because of God and opportunities that allowed that. That hard work paid off that day, and what it did is it's the same thing. It created, okay, I accomplished one of my goals. Now that I'm into the real life, walking out of the hospital, I still had to use my wheelchair here and there, but it set up my next chapter and the next vision. Like, it wasn't just walked out of the hospital, we're done. Like, now I can just sit back and coast. It was on to the next goal, which then we end up going to physical therapy at NeuroWorks, where I did a lot of training again there with NeuroWorks. But it was hard in a sense there because I didn't have necessarily the support. Like, I mean, I had the support from people, but like, it was hard to take a step because I thought if I fall, if I end up breaking my back again, like, this whole process restarts. And they would push me a lot, and it was hard mentally to like trust myself in order to take a step, to trust the support, like the vests and the equipment. I mean, you really had to trust in that stuff in order to take a step and learn how to really walk on my own. It was hard.
Awesome. Braxton, I love your story, and I love the way that you tell it. You've touched on so many key principles. I mean, you've talked about uh, having support and seeking support when you're in a trial. You've talked about eliminating people from your life that are negative influences. You've talked about the benefit, the real life benefit of having, faith in God. You've talked about and the power that can bring into your life. You've talked about focus, rather than focusing on the progress, rather than these, what you call it, a pity party. You've talked about incremental, accepting the idea of small amounts of changes over time to get a big thing. And I haven't even covered all the things that you've talked about so far. And so I absolutely love your story and the things that you talk about inside of it. There's so much for us to take a hold of and really think about and focus on, and it's an inspiration. That I have to tell you, Braxton, the I don't know, the biggest thing though that you talk about, and when I think about Braxten Nielsen, I think about a handful of words, and those words are, "You were born to succeed." So uh, I was hoping you'd just tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been able to start public speaking a little bit, and that is my platform. You say that, born to succeed, man, right? Like, Shade, when you say that, it lights me up, gives me butterflies, because we are, as human beings, we are put on this earth to succeed. I feel like anyone you talk to, we all have a story, we all have something in common, and that is life and the obstacles we go through. And I truly believe, though, that we are children of a loving Heavenly Father, and so we are born here on this earth to succeed. Yes, we're going to go through hard times, but you can do it. You can do it because of our talents and our abilities. Surrounding yourself, like I've said, there's little nuggets that will help us be successful, but you, as an individual, for everyone that's listening, you are truly born to succeed. You can do great things. You can. It might not be easy. It's going to be hard, but you can do it. You can be successful. And that's where
Braxton, thank you.
born to succeed comes from, is that we are. We're amazing people. We're amazing. People are amazing.
Right on. Braxton, thank you so much for that. What's going on with you now? Tell us what you get us caught up to today. I saw you not so long ago in Las Vegas at the World Series team roping. So you said you were public speaking. Tell us about what you got going on.
So as of up to date, right now, I actually am working at the school district as over the CT program. I get to work with the youth, the students. Oh man, it's fun. I love doing that, helping them find their career platforms. With that, I get to speak often. I've been able to travel and share my story, share my message. That's been really rewarding, and finding my why. And then also the team rope, and I've been trying to team rope. Kind of fills that hole of rodeo a little bit. I'm not as good at team roping as I was riding bareback horses, for sure, but I really enjoy it. I was able to, uh, went to the World Series, bought my card, tried to rodeo a little bit, team roping wise. My chance would be better to get back on a bucking horse than to go enter the team rope, to be honest. I actually was able to 3 years ago, about 3.5 years after my accident, got back on a bareback horse at an amateur rodeo in Santa Quin, Utah. It was neat to get back on. My wife never did see me ride. I met her after my accident, so it was really cool to have that experience just with her, and my little girl was there. It was really neat. So I'm a father, married to my wife now 5 years. Have a beautiful three. Well, she turns 4 this week. My little girl, Jada, and we have a little boy, Rickson. He's 9 months old, and man, them guys are the joy of my life right now. It's been really fun to watch them grow and develop their talents and abilities, and that's kind of where I'm headed right now, is being able to support them. I have some big goals for 2025 that are going to happen, and it's been really fun to chase those goals. And maybe I don't know if I dare talk about them yet. You'll see them if you stay tuned. I guess I'll say that yeah, hopefully here in a short period of time, some of them goals, some big things happening in 2025.
Where do people find you? Where can they keep track of you and find out more about your speaking and so on? Where do people find Braxten?
Social media platforms, Instagram, uh, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you look up Braxten Nielsen, it's Braxten, and then Nielsen, Nielsen. You can find me there, and yeah, follow me on there. There's a Born to Succeed website that we just launched. That's coming. Well, actually, I don't know if it's out yet. We're getting close to getting that up to where you can look on there and see where I'm going to be speaking and some calendar dates on there. Yeah.
All right, very good. Hey, Braxten, thank you so much for your time. I know you got to get going here. We always appreciate you. That's an incredible story, and I told you why, and it just has a lot of meaning. You bring a lot of, you know, you're a good public speaker, and you're an excellent guest because you can feel what you're saying, and we all appreciate that. So, thanks so much for taking your time to be with us today. We wish you continued success, and for all the rest, remember, you cannot fail as long as you don't ever stop chasing it.
Thank you, Shane. See you guys.